Tonight's show, we're talking about signs you're psychic. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You saw like there's something in your end table that you this too.
My God, you're crazy, girl.
Yeah, he's saying hi, baby girl. He's saying hi, baby girl. And is there significance with like image of a rose at all?
He would
Does that make
always
sense?
give me a rose.
Okay, so he's like doing one now. He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine. Somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some MagnaWave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
There's a reason why we're on this timeline. There's a reason why we've chosen to be in this awakening. I say we're going through a spiritual awakening.
So I don't just come on here and talk bullshit and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everyone. Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How y'all doing? It's been a lot going on this week since we have Mars and Cancer. Oof, boy, has it been kind of heavy, emotional, tiring, all the great stuff. But again, these little modes that we have that bring this heaviness will somehow resurrect a wonderful, positive, empowered version of ourselves. And I personally been, kind of dealing with the sinus infection for the past 3-4 days. The air quality here has been horrific. And, a lot of the air quality too from LA gets, floats down here in Palm Springs, and we deal with a lot of that crap. And then we have sand and we have winds and all this stuff here. So, you'll probably hear me sniffling and drinking some of my tea. And it's reversed, it's backwards, it says squad goals. Got my Golden Girls on there to keep me nice and warm and fuzzy when I feel little sick. I don't want to say I feel sick, it's just the allergies. And I deal with them a lot down here. And this is why I've been saying this like a broken record, why I'm moving to get out of this air quality, sandy, dry climate area. So this way you don't have to hear me sniffling and doing my nasal drip on this microphone because it's a very sensitive, hot mic. So I'll do the best that I can to pull away. Okay. So who's singing? Let's see who's Chatty Cathy in the room, shall we? Let's do these overlays on here. One man show over here. We have Brenda Zweck. Good to see you. Kara Dog. Good to see you. Lauren Masalas. Blessed evening. Cancer, Leo, rising, identity, Mars, Leo. Yeah, of course. That Leo's always going to take the reign. Hard times for me right now. Give me something to smile about, Scott. I will try. This face, isn't this a nice, warm, cozy face? I can't laugh at this face, but maybe I'll try to make some funny faces. I always do. Horses, Tiger, Trigger Hope. Good to see you, Kara Dog. Jennifer Cruz, my makers in the room. New All Way. Hello, beautiful girl. I haven't seen you in some time. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Darby Maybury is in the house. Our wonderful mod, Nina, is in the room. And please, you all, wish her a happy birthday. Today is Nina's birthday. So please give her a holler. Or give her some treats for I don't know, for coffee or something. I don't know. But wish her a happy birthday. She's wonderful. And if you want a question tonight, it's $15 for a card pull, $20 for one question, $30 for two questions, $40 for live video. But the video can only be done through Venmo because that's the only way I can respond back to give you a link to call in, yada, yada, yada. But the PayPal and Venmo links are in the description. And our wonderful mod Nina will be in the chat to assist you if you have any questions with that as well. Okay? So happy birthday, my wonderful Lena. Great to see you. Of course, I said happy birthday before. And it's a 9. It's a 9 day. She's born on a 9. 9's it's a master number. So master that, Nina. Sydney Aaron, good to see you. AC, hello. Colette Love, Iggy, can't you see? Good to see you. And Daryl Blankenship, I'm here to represent the Taurus men. Yeah, that's tomorrow night. That's not tonight. There's no Torserian men here. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. How did I get here? Good to see you. Love that name. Kate, good to see you. Tommy Garassi, welcome aboard. It's been a while to see you too. Good to see you. Kate, good to see you. Who's there's Jody Randall, Wesley Mosher, hello. Linda Jane, Cosmic Charlie 31, hello. Alicia Russell. I'm just going through the chat here, guys. This is Lauren Marcellus, I think we said you before. And you all just chatted. Kathy Christie, good to see you. Lou, good to see you. Andy Joe, hello. Gabriella Tinkoff, crazy for coconuts. There she is. There's my coconuts. Carolee Catonwell and DH, Kate Yo, and it goes on and on and on. And those who are watching, I cannot see. Oh, yeah, and Sparkling Grit, good to see you. I can't see who's watching. You have your privacy. I can only see who's chatting. So welcome aboard, too. Those of you who are new, I will start with a collective read. I do shuffle some tarot cards and oracle cards, and I don't need the cards. I'm a psychic medium. I can just go off the fly. But these cards, help for collective purposes and kind of guide to bring up what is the current climate and bring any type of additional things that's within the collective today. I usually do week to week, so we'll kind of do the forecast of this week. And of course, I'll go deeper than what I did on this morning's LOL show as well. So these cards are shuffling. Oh yeah, and after the collective read, then we'll get into the topic, which is signs that you're psychic. So we'll kind of get into, little tidbits, little things that are clues in your life that kind of confirm that you actually are psychic. And that'll be fun to get into. And then we'll get into the live read. So get the live reads in now. Get your questions in now because I'll close them at a certain period. And it's first come, first serve. Okay. And I do have one from last week that I missed. And so I will remember that when I look at my PayPal. And so, you know who you are. You'll be coming first. And okay, let's shuffle these cards here. I have to try to mute when I feel like I have to clear my throat or cough, because if for those of you who are just listening and not watching, I pity you to hear me with this snifflies. Okay. And I want to start too. Interesting. Give me a moment here. I want to start too, because let's talk about, because we have these fires going on, right? And those who didn't know, I predicted the fires coming kind of like it did in Hawaii. I predicted that last week on LOL that I saw that coming. I didn't necessarily thought it was going to be the next week. So, and there's a lot of controversy going around that. And so I talked about it a lot this morning at LOL, so check that out, before. But, I really feel like there's going to be a lot of this, like I said in last week's show, on my show last week, that there's going to be a lot of kind of chaos going on, this year. A lot of movement, a lot of chaos. But we got to still focus on what's important for us too. We can't get so wrapped up and, distracted by a lot of these other things that we cannot, help out on. And so a lot of times we want to focus on these things, but we can't help. So we let ourselves kind of, our lives take a hit because we're not able to help out. And so we have to understand what we can do, what we cannot do, and where we should be focusing to make sure we're maintaining our end of the spectrum in our world. 2. Okay, is it also Wesley Mosher's birthday too? September 19th, Capricorn here, so it is... Oh, step 19, Capricorn, so it's my birthday too. Oh, happy birthday, Wesley. Good, happy birthday to you too. Nice to have 2 9s here. All right, well, this is going to be an interesting card read here. Let's shuffle some oracles as well. All right. This is part of the live show. I can't fast forward because I have to shuffle. So, this is going to be kind of more about what's going on in the world too. And then we're going to talk about what's ahead too individually and what we can expect in the next week or so. Okay. All right. And so a lot of this will be repetitive. I will say a lot of messages can be repetitive because even though we know a lot of these things, I always say the repetitive nature just means we need a cheerleader to keep cheering us on. Tower card. We all know what the Tower card is. And I'm going to have to keep stopping too because the more I talk, the more itchy my throat gets. Change. Breakdown, breakthrough. Okay? Now, on the spiritual essence, when things break down, that's a good thing that there's a new chapter beginning. And so, and taking these fires, for example, because there's a lot of controversy that I see with these fires in LA. And I've lived in Hollywood Hills for 18 years. So I've been away the past 4 years. So it's interesting to see it all burning right now where I used to live. But, these things, we have to look beyond what we're seeing, what we're being told, because there is a lot of change going on within the politics aspect and what's going on, and look at the coincidence of things that are happening in our world so we can understand, is this planned? Is this kind of controlled? Is there something beyond what we're seeing here? Or are we just doom and gloom? But there are those that are in control of our world that are trying to control and change things too, and they'll do that in no matter way possible, the way they can do things to get things accomplished. We need to be aware of this. And even though things will be breaking down, there's always, this pendulum will always swing in the other direction. There will be a breakthrough at some point with this. There'll be an evolution. Because I said before, a couple of weeks ago that there will be, parties of power in 2025 trying to get things established. And so they will take it out on society. We see this happen in our history all the time. But that's also part of our timeline. See, a lot of people think that, because these things happen in our world, they shouldn't happen. But we're experiencing this. We need to experience it because it is part of our journey, our spiritual journey and our collective journey, as well as an individual journey. So we're on the same timeline. It's happening for a reason because we're supposed to experience this process too. And so that doesn't mean that we cannot still progress in our lives, because I would say that when things happen in our lives to push us in a different direction, it's just to relocate us. It's so we can find a new positioning. So that's what this tarot card moment really is for us to find our positioning, to kind of break down not just, ideologies that we have or spiritual beliefs or past beliefs from traumas that we've had, but it's also breaking down our patterns and behaviors, and also breaking down how we see things now moving forward, and having that discernment, building that intuition. Okay, and so the Five of Cups is the essence of loss and grief, but with Tower card and the Five of Cups, that really is saying there is no loss here. It's just you're breaking things down. Don't consider it a loss. Consider it an upgrade, because as I always say, anytime something has to go out of your life, something else needs to come in. And so we have to be prepared to allow the new to come through and the new to come in. And that also means intellect. We got to break down the older intellect and break down those older patterns to allow in the new intellect, a new wisdom from spirit. Right? And so what we can do during these times is not so much fighting back, right? It's being generous. Extending your time to those that you love, extending time to even things that you love in your life too, but also allowing love to come into your life too. I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, I was like, we always talk about self-love in the spiritual communities, and self-love seems to be the challenge for a lot of people, but a lot of people have an issue receiving love. They want it, but when it comes to them, I don't know if I'm worth it, or I don't know if I can open up, or I don't know, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm afraid. So we have a lot of times receiving love. So as much as we can master being loving, we don't hear about allowing yourself to receive love and being open to receive it. So this is something we should be focusing on currently too, is receiving that love, receiving the support from others too, because that cycle will go around. You give love, you receive love. You give love, receive love, and that cycle continues. And don't forget, there are many people in your life that want to express love too, and so don't deprive people who want to give love either, just like you want to give love. So the yin yang to love is also being able to receive it. You got to know how to receive it and able to give that. So it's important during this time, and sometimes when things break down, or things exit our lives and we feel that sense of loss, we do feel a sense of appreciation too, and a desire for more as well. That's evolution. So it's more. So be generous with your energy, generous with your time for yourself and for those around you that you love, and put that appreciation in. Now's not the time to start bickering and arguing with each other. Now's not the time to be indifferent with each other, especially those that you invested your time in, those who are investing time in you. It's time to appreciate that and revel in that right now. Because if something were to happen, Armageddon were to come, you would be relying on your close group of people, your tribe, your niche of people that actually support you and have the same essence that you actually will be kind of nuzzling up against, and vice versa. So this is the age of Aquarius, guys. It is about being independent, but it's also about understanding how to be collective too, and to share that collective energy, that the humanitarian energy with each other. Because once we're independent and we're thriving independently, we can succeed in expressing our gifts and talents easily, so that actually spreads with other people, and we commingle, and that's where things actually become very, very joyful and balanced and empowering, right? So it's through that essence of give and take, break down, break through, that duality, that there's a spiritual awakening, because the Judgment card is all about a spiritual awakening. You can even tell by the picture, the kind of the horns being sent out, people are looking above, and, and so it is that time of a spiritual awakening. And, I've been saying this for many years that, the tougher things get in our collective is a sign of that we are actually evolving. If we were to evolve so much consciously, we just explode out of our bodies. So the more we evolve, the challenge has to meet our evolution, so it keeps us bound and grounded still in physical reality, so it can be focused in our lives to still learn and to grow and to express the aspects of our soul that we're here, that we're intended to express, and the reasons why we're here in physical reality. And the Oracle card's about setting boundaries, so that's another point right now about boundaries, but let me kind of be more in depth about that because it sounds so cliche. Set boundaries. We need to understand too, boundaries, what in this aspect about your consumption. They're really saying this week, focus on setting boundaries of what you're consuming. I'm noticing a lot of things on Facebook now because, Zuckerberg has eliminated, fact checking. So now people are just deliberately putting out false stories about Zuckerberg, which is kind of funny, in a way as a retaliation. But we're starting to see even more fake stories coming out. And so you're going to have to really kind of set your boundaries of what you're consuming and where. And I would say when you just turn off social media, you can start hearing yourself a lot better. When you turn off the TV, turn off the electronics just for a little bit, you can start hearing your voice. You can start hearing your intuition speak to you, and also letting you know what's really going on around you. You can feel it out. You can sense all that energy out if you just allow yourself just to give yourself some space to breathe a little bit. And even I have had, issues that I'm attached to my iPad. I'm looking at my iPad. I'm watching things, videos and creating things while I'm eating lunch. And I go in the shower. I have a video playing while I'm in the shower. We got to find modes where we're not so reliant upon playing things and listening and consuming things all the time. We got to set the boundaries so we can actually start hearing ourselves a lot better. Right? Hell of a lot better. Because that's where the power resides. You know what I'm saying? Because when you set the parameters of okay, well, these things are infiltrating my consciousness and infiltrating my perspective or infiltrating how I'm feeling or how I'm thinking about things, perhaps I need to stop being so influenced all the time. Because if we lived in an age where there wasn't so much influence, how would you be getting that influence? Yourself, right? Your heart, your soul, your spirit, your own intellect. You'll be shaping your intellect. And that's interesting that the discernment card came out because I didn't see that actually. And then the discernment card is laying there. That's kind of what we were just talking about. That's how you create more discernment. Because 2025 is going to be a great year, but yes, we all know there's a duality to everything and the yin to the yang, that a great year also is going to render a lot of problems, a lot of chaos that we're going to have to be very discerning about. Okay. And so I think there's a lot of people that are waking up to this. And look at the death card staring right at me too. Transformation. A lot of people get scared of the death card, oh my God, am I going to die? And I said, well, if someone asks about someone's health and the death card comes up, sure. But every other circumstance is about transformation. And so we are going to be transforming this year. And so just allow the chaos to be more of an indication that you actually are transitioning, emerging, recalibrating, and shifting and changing and emerging, right? And so we're on this timeline for a reason. We've all incarnated on this timeline for a reason. We didn't say, we're on the timeline and all this stuff is happening should not happen. We should be saying we need to be growing from what we're on in our timeline. Everything on our timeline needs to happen. We signed up for it. It's part of the course. So when you start seeing things that way and claiming that, watch how different your experience will be. Watch how psychic you will become. You become more intuitive. You'll become more, I would say, in tune to why things are happening, when it's going to happen. You'll be able to predict things a lot easier. You'll be more in tune to the self of where you need to maneuver yourself and how you need to flow in different directions or not, or move. And, especially I've been saying 2025, a lot of people will be moving. It's a year of movement for me. So there's going to be a lot of movements, and it's a 9 number, 2025, right? So it's a mastery. So in order to master, we have to be in the right location. Finding the right ley line of a vortex of energy of locations that match your vibe. And we talked about finding your tribe this morning on Leading Out Loud, about finding your tribe. And so I would recommend, I've been pushed to say this a lot of times too, but within the past month or so, it's look into astrocartography. Have your astrocartography done to find out what aligns with your energy, with your astrology. And finding the points in our world that really match your energy. This is going to be a wonderful thing to do this year. But in this week primarily, right, there's going to be a lot of chaos in the world. I'm not going to lie about that, but ask yourself, does this affect you? And if it's not affecting you, put good energy into the collective, but keep building your life. Keep building the structure and your foundation. It's going to help in the long term, but also energetically to the collective of those who are experiencing some sort of downfall or challenges. You know, it's interesting because every time I've moved somewhere, I've always noticed I walked away or avoided a major issue where I moved out of. You know, was around it, but never got affected by it, no matter what I've done in my life. And so, which means that I'm supposed to experience it, supposed to see it, but not supposed to actually go through it because it doesn't match my evolution and how I've experienced it. So please understand, it's all part of your evolution, part of your story. Stop resisting things. If you're afraid of something, look at it in the mirror, look at it face to face and say, why are you here? Okay, fear, why are you here? Right. So, and when you look at it this way, you get a message. You realize it's not so much. It's not your enemy. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a friend. Right. And so this is how, you know, we can utilize these things in our world to decipher if we're psychic or not. So how do you know that you're psychic? What are signs that you know that you're psychic? The clearest way you can understand or learn that you're psychic, one is you have intuitive dreams. I hear a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people who I've mentored about developing their psychic ability. They always have a dream that someone died. Or they had a dream that like a celebrity died and then the celebrity died or something of that nature. It's always kind of like the disastrous predictions. Clearly, signs you're psychic, right? So when you find yourself like also involved in certain situations to where you're just like, you know, I felt a bad, you know, feeling from somebody, or I feel a bad thing, and I was going to go off with that person in that car, but I didn't, and then you go home and that car got into a car wreck or something. That's signs you're psychic. And so, another sign is that also is, and when you can see through things. And so psychic just doesn't mean that you're predicting things. Psychic means you're reading the energy in the matrix. You can encode the energy in the matrix. So psychic means you can decipher what's true and what's not true. So it's not just about the future or what's going to happen. I think people get so wrapped up that psychic means future telling, fortune telling. What's my future? Give me my fortune. Psychic is more than just your fortune and future. That's the bullshit of being psychic and the psychic, ability. It's not about just future. Future is malleable to a certain degree. But psychic means you see through things. You can read the past. You can see the evolution of yourself. You can also sense that, what you're doing now and where to go. That's psychic too. And why things are happening now. That's also being psychic. So if you actually have a hint, a feeling of what you've done in a past lifetime, that's a sign you're psychic. Okay? If you're also in locations, whatever your home, if you've been in a home and you're starting to notice that there are like strange activity or phenomena happening frequently around you, signs you're psychic. Because in order for you to create these type of physical manifestations or to express these physical manifestations in the physical world, you would have to have abilities, and especially suppressed abilities. Because as I was younger, I experienced a poltergeist energy, which is, of course, there's a lot of residual energy in the place that I was living, but I also had abilities that I was repressing, going through a little bit of trauma at that time too. So that's a great recipe for that, for me to actually bring to life that residual energy and make it come to life and to motion. So when you start noticing like things are moving, or you're getting signs from different, from spirit guides that you love or messages, you're psychic. So that's a great sign of that as well. If you're drawn to psychics, it's another one. If you're drawn to psychics, you're psychic. Okay? And because whatever you're drawn into and whatever you admire in someone else, you possess. Because whatever you react to, you relate to. I tell everybody on this, on the positive level and the negative level. What you react to, you relate to. So many people, when they find someone in the store and they're like, oh, they hate them and they're reacting to their energy, well, you relate to the energy because you're reacting to it. Because if you didn't relate to it, you're like, doesn't bother me. It is what it is, right? So understand, any trigger, any type of realization, you possess that quality, okay? And so that's why a lot of people look up to a celebrity, and a celebrity is like fascinated about art and enamored by art. And so the person's like, well, I like that, so I need to be a singer too, but yet singing is not their talent. Diving into their art is their talent, is what they're relating to, okay? And then pulling that out. So inspiration, what you feel inspired by, is actually what's really part of your soul, expression. And you might be repressing it, but it's still you. So once more, when you have that activity around and you start feeling that activity around, weird things happening, you're psychic, trying to wake you up to this. And especially that when you're actually are, drawn to psychics, drawn to intuitives, or you're drawn to, the spirituality aspects of things, you're psychic. Okay. Another aspect that you're psychic, that you probably don't even, that a sign that you're psychic, is that you see signs. You see synchronicity. Okay? Synchronicity means that you do see the numbers. You do see 1111s or 111s or the consistency of the numbers in a way that's really odd, right? Because when you're starting to recognize synchronicity, which is the patterns of the physical universe, this matrix, and you're aware and you're noticing that, that means you're intuitive. That means you can see beyond 3D. And those of us who can see beyond 3D, well, of course, that means you have that awareness, that psychic awareness. Now, of course, we all have it at different levels and different degrees. Psychic just might mean that you could just like foresee things, but not necessarily sit down and read somebody, because, you know, reading someone requires a lot of skill and a lot of training to understand what to read and how to dive deep and to bring that information forward. But you'd have to work on that. But these levels of awareness are signs you have psychic awareness and psychic ability. Now, we all have intuition. Intuition we all have, and psychic ability spawns from intuition. So, and so a lot of you guys who are here, these are the signs that you have that. Now, there's even people that, you know, don't believe in psychics, and they're a little psychic too, because a lot of people resist the psychic nature and they don't realize they actually have psychic ability themselves. It's a fear of the ability, right? Those who truly don't believe it are just like, whatever, not a big deal. And so, but those who have a strong reaction to pull away from psychic ability actually have it themselves too. So it just needs to be developed. You know, again, it might be a lower level of psychic awareness, right? So you want to be practicing these things. If you're seeing the signs, practice out of seeing and connecting why these signs are coming around you. Practice. Okay, I was feeling something, then I saw this sign. I'm in this kind of stage of my life, then I've seen these signs. I've been questioning things, then I've been seeing these signs. You'll be able to go deeper with what those signs mean. Especially with the locations. If the things are happening around you, start asking yourself, what do I feel like is around in this space? Start trying to read the residual energy. See if you could pick up on the paths of the location that you're in, and then see if you can do history on the house and say, I feel this energy. It feels like, I don't know, someone died in this room, and I can look it up and see if someone died in that room, right? We all have the ability to encode and decode energy. You know, and we all maybe at beginner levels, expert levels, but we all have different levels of doing so based on practice and experience, but we all have the ability to activate and to ignite it as well. Start challenging yourself. Start looking through when you're reading the news and the media. Start asking yourself, is this true to me? Does this feel true? Ask yourself. You might start saying, some don't feel right to me. Because a lot of people are so used to believing whatever they're told, and that's horrible, right? So start actually using the media and the news and what you're experiencing in the world and what you're reading, say, let me see, is this true? This don't feel true to me. And dive deeper. Or if you're looking at events that are playing out, try to get yourself into intuitive stance of saying, what do I think will happen from here? And see if it happens. Take note, dive deeper into those things. A lot of people have signs like that, that's reflecting that they're intuitive or have psychic ability. And they just disregard it. Oh, that's crazy. That's out of the scope of what the news is saying, what the media is telling me, what religion is telling me. And so they dismiss it. And then years later, like, oh my God, I didn't listen to myself, right? And same thing when you meet people. You know, go deeper about how you feel about people and what they're saying to you, and try to feel out what they're saying. Is what they're saying to me true? Do I believe what they're saying? Is this coming from another place? Or if someone's upset at you, use your feeling. Are they really upset at me? Instead of taking it personal, be objective. Are they really upset at me? Or is there something else going on here? Right? And reading between the lines, as we call it. Right? So take those signs, right? And expand on those signs. Go deeper. If you're having dreams, start interpreting those dreams as they come to fruition. Because a lot of times we're having the dreams and we're predicting things in dreams, and say, well, I want to learn more than just the dreams I'm predicting or the things I'm predicting in my dreams. Because a lot of times those dreams are very negative, like deaths and so forth and tragedies. And I always tell people, now let's start feeling out for other things. Like use that as an activator to ignite your perception and your curiosity to want to know more and to learn about more, right? And to see more and to see beyond. Be willing to see beyond what you're being presented with. That's a major key. Say, okay, this is in front of me, but is this really in front of me, or is there something more to this? Is something behind all that energetically, or the truth of such? And another simple way to do it is just have a bullshit meter too. Find your bullshit meter. The more you practice this, the more you can actually start seeing all these signs too. You can have all these signs in your life at once, and that's great because then you have multiple reflections around you. But start looking into this more, right? And so, and another sign too that you're psychic is that it's a part of empathy, right? Like you just understand people, or you just know how to do things for some reason, right? Because there's a lot of people that like pick up a skill, but they just kind of learn it really quickly and they kind of master it quickly. I'm like, that means you're psychic, because there's some part of you that's remembering your past incarnation that had that skill set. So that's what makes it easier in this lifetime to just like pick it up quickly, because you've done it before in a past lifetime. And if you're able to bring that energy into this lifetime, you have psychic awareness, unconscious psychic awareness. So if you find yourself like learning things that you didn't like know about and learn it very quickly, there's some sort of psychic awareness that you have that you know how to accelerate and just like download the information from a previous incarnation. Right? So that's another reason. So go off with that too. I see a lot of people are so natural, so fluid to them to know where things are. If sometimes you say, you know, even by this parking spot, this is stupid stuff too, that, you know, oh, I feel like I got to go to the store now and I don't know why. And you go to the store now and then the parking spot's right there. And then everything you need is there. And there's like one left of what you need, you know, those are all psychic pulls and psychic inclinations to push you forward, to bring you to what you're needing. Follow those. So I'm really kind of giving you guys a very simplified, watered down version of my future podcast called Psychic 101, which is coming, you know, at the end of this month. So I'll be going into depth of this week to week and it's going to be a course. It's going to be a almost like a guide, you know, and a training course, because I'll also have you do exercises each week to develop these different levels of your psychic awareness and understand the different clairs, like clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairaudience, and understand how to utilize each and which is your most dominant, how it cycles, understand the different levels of spirit reality and where we actually are getting information from and how we encode and decode information, and understand the structure of such and how that can develop into also mediumship and channeling abilities. Right. So, so stay tuned for that within this month, because I want to kind of give a little bit of a teaser of that, you know, and this is a very general, very preschool like, simplified teaser of such. But a lot of guys have psychic abilities, and just because you're not able to like read people doesn't mean you don't have psychic abilities. We all have the ability to read. And just like a lot of things we all can learn and can develop. And so the uniqueness comes of how you express it and what you do with the ability. Okay. It's not about who can do it or who cannot do it. It's how are you doing it? How are you using the ability? Okay. So ask yourself this: how are you using your intuition? You'll have it. Are you using it? And if you are, how are you using it? If you're not, why you're not using it? Start pushing forward in that. Okay. All right. But yeah, Psychic 101 is excited for that. I'm still mapping that out. I always wonder why Tom Cruise appears in my dream. Do you like Tom Cruise? And that Tom Cruise is actually Cruise. So it's a Tom Cruise, like a cruise ship. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what he represents for you, what Tom Cruise represents for you. So, and what type of feeling evokes from Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise could also be some sort of a figure or a representation symbol from your childhood when he was, you know, also very big. And look at the time frame when Tom Cruise was really big and you were seeing a lot of Tom Cruise movies. What type of environment were you in at that time, and what type of period was that in your life? You're trying to go back there somehow, and Tom Cruise is a representation of that. Okay, and also whatever he symbolizes. So dive deep with that. I say, guys, ask questions all the time. Say, why is Tom Cruise appearing in my dream all the time? What do I feel like that? What does that mean to me? Ask the questions. Okay, ask the questions and you will get the answers. It's like a rabbit hole, you know. But I think it's important now, as we are now in, you know, the age of Aquarius, that we all do need to be more intuitive. And if we were all collectively in this world very intuitive, we would understand people a lot better. We would know how to really kind of do better for ourselves and help each other out better. We would take things less personally. I mean, it still happens. We're human. But generally speaking, that will evolve and bring a lot more sense of community and connectivity if we're being more intuitive about things and more understanding, looking beyond things, you know. So tap into that. All right. We don't have a card pull from Nina, unfortunately, because it was her birthday and we got to get her some time off from doing that. So yeah. Oh, this is a good question. Will you be discussing protecting yourself? Oh, absolutely. Yes. Talk about protection, boundary settings, understanding the dark energy and light energy, and also the misconceptions of bad energy and evil energy. Okay. So, what people represent as evil energy is just a powerful energy they're not ready to handle. And so, there really isn't any spirits out there trying to get you or trying to, you know, possess you. And I went through possessions and I found my possessions was my fear manifest. And my, you know, being held down in the Christian church, exercised and, you know, going through conversion therapy, that possessions I was going through was my anger. of them trying to really kind of attach onto my soul. So a lot of people who've gone through possessions have had a lot of restricted and bondage like experiences that is their soul is trying to break free from, in a sense. But there's also experiences of parasitic spirits too, which I'll get into as well. There's parasitic entities. They're not necessarily evil, but they're lower level, entities that just feed on energy because they're trying to grow. It's like a virus in our body. There's a lot of viruses that just feed on a host because it has to survive. Does that make it evil? Even though the virus is killing you, it's like, no, it doesn't know. It's just trying to stay alive. There's a lot of lower level entities that are parasitic in that nature that do such. Okay. So we think because people are evil in a sense in physical reality, they're sort of like evil spirits. When you evolve out of physical reality, you understand we're in a karmic cycle, karmic loop of evolution. And all the negativity, all the dark stuff is just, the unrealized versions of soul potential. That's what deprivation is. So I'll get into all that so you can understand different levels, and you'll start understand that it really isn't about protection. It's about how you're processing and what you're ready to open up into experience. So. And so many people try to tap into things and they take on too much that they can handle. It's like if you're to microdose on mushrooms and you take too much, you're gonna go crazy, have a bad trip, right? And a lot of people have anxiety, do something of that nature, psychedelics, and they have a bad trip because their anxiety is manifesting. It's trying to get their attention, but like, oh, it's evil spirits. Like, no, it's your anxiety manifest. And many people do it and have wonderful experiences. Right. So, excuse me. So, yeah. So anyways, let's see what's going on in the chat and we'll get into the live readings here. Yes, I've experienced sleep paralysis quite a bit too. What happens is that sometimes we get pushed in when we go to sleep, right? We pass the astral plane, and the astral plane kind of echoes any energy that we're in before sleep. Right? So it gets amplified. So there's a lot of times where we're trying to sleep. If we have a lot of angst energy or unresolved energy and you're prone to anxiety, you'll have insomnia. You won't be able to pass the astral plane. You'll be pushed back down your body. You won't be able to sleep in a sense. That's why it's always good to resolve. Somehow set a resolution before you sleep so you can actually pass the astral plane. That energy doesn't get amplified to where it pushes you down. You can go into dream reality, spirit reality in a sense. So the same is true in the reverse. Now, I believe, and I've experienced that a lot of times when we go into our dream state, that I believe we do other incarnations. We explore other realities, other lifetimes, and other lives, and we resolve certain things too. So there are times you might be experiencing another parallel life in dream state, and we might die, and then we get pushed back in our body quicker than we anticipate. And so the soul's we awaken, the body awakens, and the soul hasn't fully merged into the body. We get that sleep paralysis because the soul got shot right back in the body quicker than anticipated, and then we wake up, but the soul isn't fully connected to the body in a sense. So there's those experiences too. And so, I've experienced that many times, and there had been dreams where I've woken up and I can feel my body, but there are dreams I just kind of woke up and I haven't fully in. I was crawling on the floor and my legs are still slowly getting its energy back, right? And so, because the soul is our energy that is pushing and moving this body. And so we are actually still active outside of the physical body in our dream state. And a lot of times we're in, what I call template level reality, and we're rearranging our trajectory. Like, I've learned this, and so I'm going to open up a pathway here for myself, and then things happen. Or, we're also, if we're not learning a lesson, we'll say, I'm not learning this lesson. Something's got to happen here. And that's why a lot of times we notice synchronicity of things that we're experiencing when we wake up, because how'd that happen that way? We're also rearranging our trajectory in our dream state too. So, so my advice about when you're having sleep paralysis, making sure that you're resolving things before you go to sleep. Okay. This way you don't have that impulse of energy, and you won't be maybe trying to push yourself into another reality. But even those who resolve things before sleep, sometimes it just happens to where you might be really busy in another, life in a sense, or experience that you might get killed in that experience, and boom, you get popped in this reality, and it happens quicker than usual. It's very interesting. Our consciousness is so multidimensional. And so I think that the more I've studied this for such a long time, experienced it a lot, and through meditation and also experiencing with these types of modalities of what it really means, and studying that and experiencing it, and put myself in deep meditation to understand the different levels of such, and working with my guides to understand it too. So there's a lot of that too. So, and I would also say the more you resolve things with your karma in this lifetime too, the less you feel like you have to go incarnate in your dream space in another, time, space, reality, or another experience to resolve it either. Because we do that as well too, you know. And so, but that also is a sign you're psychic too. So that's a good one. That's a sign you're psychic as well. When you have these sleep paralysis, you're psychic because you're being very active in template level reality or spirit reality when you're sleeping, you know. So, okay, I'm just looking through the comments here just to see what else people are saying. Well, this is a good point. Because we have dominion over anything, and there's a spectrum of energy, right? And so you have control over the energy. So whether you're telling them to leave you alone or not, a lot of times it's your own manifestation spiritually. It's almost like you're beside yourself, right? You have your own shadow version, literally, that's playing with you too. So a lot of times it's just aspects of self that we think are spiritual beings. It's like, it's just a different versions of us. So, you know, I would say you can tell them to leave it alone, but just make peace with it, whatever it is, you know. Because a lot of it asks yourself, is this me? Is this a manifestation of me? And I would say 9 times out of 10, you'll find it is manifestations of you, actually. You know, so. Okay, I'm going to take a short little break so I can have a tea break. Just run a short little commercial here, and I'll be back and we'll do the live readings. See you in 2 seconds.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.